So in this lecture today, we'll be studying about CTD in detail. CTD in detail, that is Common Technical Document. So as per our previous discussions and the slide that we are going to study today, CTD is an internationally agreed format. Internationally, why? Because it's accepted by all the continents, all the countries in the world. It is used for what? Internationally agreed format for preparation of applications regarding what? Regarding new drugs which are intended to be submitted to regional regulatory authorities. So I, working in a pharma company in India, wants to actually sell my products in USA. So I will use this CTD format to submit my new drugs to not new drug but new drugs के approval के लिए documents, that is CTD, I'll submit it to the regional regulatory authorities, which is US FDA in the respected countries or whichever country you want to. And in USA, so there are three timelines that we need to understand. One is this thing. There are two others which will come further on in this discussion. So CTD format was agreed in 2000 in USA. So it was developed by European Medicine Agency, EMA Europe, Food and Drug Administration, FDA USA, and Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, Japan. So basically, because it was developed by ICH, it was developed by these three countries. It was made mandatory for 2003. In the year 2003 in Europe, it was the usage of CTD was made mandatory. CTD is maintained by ICH, and if you search, like this is like actual screenshot I've taken from ICH M4, and it's very important for you to cross reference such topics from the actual sources. So if we said that CTD format was something that was brought forward by ICH, then you need to go to ICH. Simply search ICH guidelines on Google. They'll have, the first thing you'll see is their website, and on their website, when you search or click on work products, you'll see there will be safety, quality, efficacy guideline, and there will be something known as multidisciplinary guideline. And in that multidisciplinary guideline, M4, that is M1, something like that. So the series in the series M4 is for CTD. So CTD is maintained by ICH, and if you want to study, although I've attached a screenshot here, if you want to look for yourself, you can go to ICH M4 guideline and you can read there. So we'll have a general reading regarding ICH M4 guideline. What does M4 guideline say about the CTD? So the agreement to assemble all the quality, safety and efficacy. Okay, before further reading down, one thing I want you to go through for yourself also, go through the keywords here, because this is an international guideline and whatever is written here is read by everyone across the globe, and before writing this particular thing, they also might have researched a lot. So whatever, like quality, these are like quality, safety and efficacy is a mandatory keyword which you can't even change it into synonyms. Okay, it has to be the quality, safety and efficacy. So look for the keywords with me. So the agreement to assemble all the quality, safety and efficacy information in a common format called CTD, that is Common Technical Document, has revolutionized the regulatory review processes, led to harmonized electronic submissions. So revolutionize the regulatory review process is something you have to say if someone asks you. And then harmonized. Oh my god, I cannot even highlight this word in every whichever color I can. This harmonize is very important. It's a keyword here. It's a keyword. What is happening? Okay, harmonized electronic submission. So the CTD we are talking about is actually common technical document in the physical form, something like how you fill a form and give. But nowadays there is something known as ECTD, that is you can electronically submit that form online. So led to harmonized electronic submission that in turn enabled implementation of good review practices. So if someone asks you like why CTD was introduced, or what are the advantages of CTD, just use these words that it revolutionized the regulatory review process and it led to harmonized electronic submission, which in turn enabled implementation of good review practices. Now, words like enabled or implementation, these are actually good words, but it is like you can also use synonyms for this. But the word like I would always use this regulatory review process. Harmonize is also like a word that you can't use synonym of. You can, but harmonize is something which is universally acceptable to, so do use this. So electronic submission, again there is no synonym that you can use for it. Good review practices, again no synonym. So these keywords are there which you can't use simple words for it. For enabled, allowed, you can use implementation, implement किया के synonyms आप इसमें यूज कर सकते हो. For industries, it has eliminated the need. So eliminated is like a good word, you can use the synonym. Need to reformat again and again, same information is sent by different formats of forms for different countries, so the need to reformat was eliminated. So for industries, it has eliminated the need to reformat the information for submission to the different ICH regulatory authorities. So how I use the word for different countries, to different countries RA, to different countries regulatory affairs department. Instead you can use this word. Even I learned something new today. So different, obviously different ICH regulatory authorities. So obviously इससे हमें समझ में आ रहा है कि they will be talking about हर अलग अलग country की regulatory bodies. So different ICH regulatory authorities. The CTD is organized into 5 modules. Now this is something very important which we'll also study down, but I'm giving you the language of what ICH talks about. The CTD is organized into 5 modules. Module 1 is region specific and modules 2, 3, 4 and 5 are intended to be common for all the regions. So इन्होंने यहाँ पे क्या line बोली? They said, if I can write here, that module 1 जो है, it is used for, it is a region specific module, मतलब कि it will vary with country to country. But module 2, 3, 4, 5 apart from 1, the remaining modules, that is 2, 3, 4, 5 are intended to be common for all the regions. So now it is not region specific modules, it is common. Now, in July 2003, the CTD became mandatory format for NDA, new drug applications in Europe and Japan, and strongly recommended format of choice for NDA submitted to FDA, that is US. So, see what they said, it became a mandatory format of NDA in Europe and Japan. So that is what I wrote here, that in 2003 it became mandatory in Europe. Now I have written the same point for Japan. We'll look at it down below. So now they had something known as electronic version of the common technical document can be produced using by the ECTD implement. Okay, so they had, if I could go here, yeah. So they had written here the CTD triangle. There was a PDF there, so I downloaded. You want to read it in detail, you can also open these 3, especially these 3 organization also you can open and read. ICH very easy to download also, so you can save it and read it whenever you are free. So this is known as CTD triangle. Okay, now we have learned from previous slide that there are 5 modules in CTD, and they said that first module, that is module 1, is region specific, and remaining module, that is 2, 3, 4 and 5 are actually common for all regions. That is like something that will be repeated, because again and again it will be a kind of revision for you. So it is the regional, if you see, this is module 1. Okay, here I'll highlight it. Module 1. Look, very good. The text itself got. Okay, so this is, let's start with green more. Okay, so this is module 1. Why they say here is not the part of CTD? Because it is region specific, obviously, and regional administrative information. So why region specific? They said because as per your own region, administrative information will change. Now this is module 2. Now module 2, although we'll also look at in detail in the coming slides, but let's have it. I gave you the example here, so let's study here only. Module 2 has quality overall summary. It has non-clinical overview and non-clinical summary. It has clinical overview and clinical summary. So this is module 2. Then there is module 3 जिसमें क्वालिटी के बारे में पूरी बात करेंगे. मॉड्यूल 4 में नॉन क्लिनिकल स्टडी रिपोर्ट्स के बारे में बात करेंगे और मॉड्यूल 5 में ओनली क्लिनिकल स्टडी रिपोर्ट्स के बारे में बात करेंगे. So module 2 is basically a kind of overall summary for module 3, 4 and 5. Now focus of CTD was to provide common format. Again, very important line. It was the focus of CTD was to provide a common format. Again and again the same keywords are repeated, so you should not be able to confuse. So when they say that, okay, why was CTD introduced? Why the need of CTD was there for submissions of NDAs in different regulatory bodies or different ICH regulatory authorities, the keyword that we learn here, like why was it there for ICH regulatory authorities? The reason being they wanted to provide a common format for the preparation of a well structured submission as per the framework described in ICH. So well structured submission was actually not decided by, जैसे इंडिया कर रही है तो इंडिया के अकॉर्डिंग जो well structured है, नहीं, they didn't give each country that kind of what you call freedom, but something well structured submission was as per the framework described in the ICH. So common format, to provide the common format. In India, CDSCO adopted CTD format for registration of biological product. And that was, I think, the year 2009. Okay, let's write it in the year 2000. In India, 2009 में for registration of biological products, it is adopted CTD format. So this guideline does not basically gives you a very hard to follow protocol. ऐसा नहीं है कि they will tell you कि you should do only and these many or that many studies. So it does not intend to indicate what studies are required, okay, on how to do and what studies are required. It only indicates an appropriate format for the data. Like this is how you have to write, like they give you a format for the data, how you will have to present it, how you will have to structure the submission. So applicants, that are companies or any pharma company for that matter, should not modify the overall organization of CTD as per the guideline. But giving this freedom doesn't mean कि you अपने format को ही modify कर दिया, नहीं, ये नहीं करना. The overall organization of CTD has to be as per the guideline. But in non-clinical and clinical summaries, applicant can modify individual formats if needed to provide the best possible presentation of the technical information. All this to help or aid in the understanding and evaluation of the result. Okay, so what they are trying to say here is कि वैसे तो आप overall organization of CTD को नहीं change कर सकते किसी भी कीमत पे, but clinical or non-clinical, because it's important data, so you can modify it. अब उसमें condition क्या है? Only if आपके पास जो तरीका है that is the bestest possible presentation, आपका डेटा आप अपने बेस्ट पॉसिबल तरीके से अगर प्रेजेंट कर रहे हो टेक्निकल इन्फॉर्मेशन का डेटा, ओनली देन यू कैन मॉडिफाई इट. जस्टिफाई करो कि ऑल दिस जो भी आप मॉडिफिकेशन है वो हेल्प करेगा अंडरस्टैंड करने में और इवैल्यूएट करने में. पहले तो आप उसको समझ सकोगे अच्छे से प्रेजेंटेशन को देख के. प्रेजेंटेशन डजंट नेसेसरली मीन पीपीटी, बट एक ऐसा फॉर्मेट जिससे आप इजीली समझ सकोगे और इजीली उसको असेस कर सकोगे, इवैल्यूएट कर सकोगे उसका रिजल्ट. So only then you can modify it. Now what are the objectives of CTD? So this is also a very nice thing you should learn. So CTD was formatted to, CTD का ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या था? अगेन एंड अगेन सेम थिंग्स आर रिपीटेड. ओनली थिंग इज कि आपको यहाँ से कीवर्ड उठाते हुए चलना है, लैंग्वेज उठाते हुए चलनी है, सो दैट यू हैव नॉलेज टू स्पीक, knowledge when you speak. So CTD was formatted to reduce the time and resources. मैं एक देखो, मैंने कल भी समझाया था in previous slide also that there is one form. Okay, let's use a different pen. And there is another form. Okay, I want to sell this my product and market this product in USA. I'll have to sell and market my product in Europe or Canada or whichever country you like, you can write. Now few things there will be same. My clinical data, ऐसा तो नहीं है मैं यूएस को कुछ ज़्यादा दूंगी और यूरोप को कम दूंगी या यूरोप को क्लिनिकल दूंगी ही नहीं, केवल नॉन क्लिनिकल दूंगी. सो माई क्लिनिकल डेटा, माई क्वालिटी डेटा, माई नॉन क्लिनिकल स्टडीज जितनी भी हुई है रिसर्च, ये सब तो सेम ही रहेगा ना मेरा. कहीं कहीं चेंजेस आएंगे कि एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव डॉक्यूमेंट्स उन्होंने कैसे मांगे हैं. यूरोप माइट आस्क अ डिफरेंट वे ऑफ प्रेजेंटेशन एंड यूएसए माइट आस्क डिफरेंट. तो मैं सेम चीज़ बार बार केवल 19-20 के फ़र्क से क्यों 10 बार सबमिट करूँगी. सो मेरा टाइम भी बचेगा और उसमें मेरा रिसोर्स भी बचेगा. जहाँ आई वुड हैव रिक्वायर्ड अ लॉट ऑफ मैन पावर, अ लॉट ऑफ लाइक फाइल्स टू एन एरिया टू अरेंज द डॉक्यूमेंट्स, आई वुड हैव रिक्वायर्ड अ लॉट ऑफ कंप्यूटर्स फॉर दैट पर्पज. I would have saved on, I could save on resources with CTD. So there is always a reduction in time and resources. Ease the preparation of e-submissions. तो अब मेरा e-CTD भी इंट्रोड्यूस हो चुका है. तो विद द हेल्प ऑफ e-CTD मेरा प्रिपरेशन और भी ईजी हो गया. हाउ? बिकॉज नाउ आई कैन ईजिली प्रिपेयर एंड सबमिटेड ऑन ऑनलाइन. Simplifies the exchange of regulatory infos between regulatory authorities. So there is no like confusions there, no problems in understanding the rules and regulations. It simplifies the exchange of regulatory infos between the regulatory authority. Now there is general principles, and these general principles are to be like, just you don't have to mug up this. This is just like for your GK general knowledge, but look at it how specific they are. So this is about CTD. This does not, I think, talk about e-CTD. So CTD, they said general principle is the display of info should be unambiguous and transparent. Unambiguous बोले तो it should be clear or it should be like उसका interpretation easy होना चाहिए. So clear and transparent. Facilitate the review of basic data. तो उनके रिव्यू में लाइक इफ़ यू आर रीडिंग माई राइटिंग, मेरी राइटिंग थोड़ी ऐसी है अजीब सी कर्सिव, सो आपको रिव्यू करते टाइम कोई दिक्कत नहीं आनी चाहिए. एंड it helps a reviewer to become more quickly oriented to the application content. Now even in 10th standard or 12th standard, if you have given boards exam, it was told to you that you should write in a good handwriting. Why? Because if you have a bad handwriting, already the examiner is checking so many copies and he'll get agitated and he'll give you, even if he wants to give you 5 marks, if he doesn't understand your language, he'll not give you the complete marks. He'll skip on things. So same applies for the reviewer. So the reviewer sitting there at an international platform, whether in Europe, Canada, Japan, US, should become quickly, देर से तो हर कोई समझ जाएगा, but quickly oriented to the application content. If you have irritated the reviewer, then you know what could be the outcomes. There will be a lot of back and forth communication. So we want a smooth operation. So the text and tables prepared using margins can be printed also. Whatever text or tables you are preparing, the tables should not, sometimes people have such big tables that in different sizes of paper it gets eliminated, it gets cut out when you print them. So they said that if you are drawing if you are making the text making the table, the text should be fitted in the paper even if it's printed on A4 size paper. So if you're submitting in Europe and Japan, you should have this in mind, and if you're submitting to US, this size should matter. Left hand side margin should be sufficiently large. ठीक है, जो हमारा पेपर होता है, like if you look at this, my paper also, the left side margin should be large. Why? So that the info isn't obscured by the binding. So if I'm binding right now, if I bind this is my left hand side margin. If I bind this, my text is also getting affected. So this thing should not happen. So you should leave a good left hand side margin. Now font size of text and table should be of a style and size that are large enough to be legible even after photocopying. Sometimes when you photocopy, the style of the text or due to the size of the text, it is not visible or legible. So Times New Roman and 12-point font is used as a standardized, they have mentioned, and every page should be numbered, that's a given. Acronyms and abbreviations should be defined. So these were some general principles for CTD. Then moving on is organization of CTD, which we have again. If you want, I can go back to that diagram. Not like this thing, this particular image. And you can see here we have already discussed it. The same thing we are learning down below here. So organization of CTD. CTD is organized into 5 modules. This is something very important, can be asked numerous times. How many modules does CTD have? So you should have it on the tip of your tongue that it has 5 modules, and you should be able to at least name them. Okay, so module 1 is regional and prescribing information. Remember we said here that it is region specific, and this is region specific, and other rest of them are common for all the regions. So this is region specific, that is the administrative documents, these are required here. And then there is module 2, introduction. So how do you remember this? First of all, remember कि whatever is in module 3, 4 and 5, उसकी summary hai. Basically you have to keep that in mind. Okay, so introduction is there. One thing note to be noticed here is quality overall summary. This is something, देखो clinical non clinical की उन्होंने अलग से दिया है overview और summary, but quality की overall summary है एक साथ एक उसमें topic में cover कर लिया. फिर जो module 4 और 5 है, 4 और 5 की 2 चीज़ें हैं, clinical non clinical का overview and clinical non clinical की summary. This you should have the knowledge about. This is something so basic. So module 2 में non clinical clinical की overview और non clinical clinical की summary is there. So how many things are there? Mainly 4 is there. See 4 how? This is actually 1, then 1 non clinical का overview, 1 non clinical का overview. Then summary में 1 non-clinical की summary and then 1 clinical की summary. So there are mainly 5 things in module 2. Then module 3 is simple, that is quality. First we'll talk about quality, then clinical study reports, and then non-clinical study reports, and then module 5 clinical study reports. So module 2 को if I want to write in details, I will write quality overall summary. क्वालिटी की समरी दी है. ये कहाँ मेनली आपको कहाँ मिलेगा क्वालिटी का डाटा? मॉड्यूल 3 में, ऐसे कोरिलेट करके. ठीक है. फिर सेकंड चीज़ है, हम बात करते हैं ओवरव्यू की पहले. तो ओवरव्यू में हमें क्या मिल रहा है? ओवरव्यू में नॉन क्लिनिकल का ओवरव्यू मिल रहा है और क्लिनिकल का ओवरव्यू मिल रहा है. दिस इज मॉड्यूल 4 एंड दिस इज मॉड्यूल 5. फिर समरी की बात करें तो समरी में नॉन क्लिनिकल की समरी मिल रही है और क्लिनिकल की समरी मिल रही है. सो अगेन नॉन क्लिनिकल मेंशन इन मॉड्यूल 4 and clinical mention in module 5. So this way you will remember what are the contents of module 2, and by this way you will remember what are the contents of module 3, 4 and 5. So in the next slide, in the next video, let's say we'll make it part 3 because I think it's becoming too lengthy now. So in part 3 we will study what are the contents of module 1. Okay, and consecutively in part 5 we'll learn about the contents of each module. So this thing I would not recommend you to mug up this thing. रट्टा नहीं मारना है, बट जैसे जैसे आप समझोगे ईच मॉड्यूल को आपको अपने आप याद हो जाएगा कि किस मॉड्यूल में क्या आता है. बिकॉज इन इंटरव्यूज दे माइट आस्क यू कि हाउ मेनी मॉड्यूल्स आर देयर इन CTD एंड व्हाट आर द टाइप्स ऑफ मॉड्यूल्स इन CTD. सो एटलीस्ट यू शुड रिमेंबर द हेडिंग्स ऑफ इट. कि अगर हमने बात की क्वालिटी की तो वो मॉड्यूल 3 में आएगा, हमने बात की क्वालिटी ओवरऑल समरी की तो वो मॉड्यूल 2 का पार्ट है. So 2 is basically overview and summary. So that's what CTD had in detail we studied in this lecture. Part 3 we'll study in detail about module 1. Till then, like, share and subscribe, and you can look for other videos on other topics in the same channel. Thank you.